Recording in progress.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today for our Money Smart Monday. We are celebrating Juneteenth Resource Week, and we're kicking it off with Danielle from NHS. She's the Associate Director of Home Ownership Services.
Actually, the new director of home ownership services. Thank you.
Black excellence. Starting out Juneteenth, right?
Thank
And we
you.
also have Brandon. He's a data scientist, and he's also a homeowner and a real estate investor.
Yeah.
I will allow you guys to introduce yourselves a little bit more. Can I have your first and last names, your career, and your home ownership background?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Danielle Matthews. I am the Director of Home Ownership Services with Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. I am a homeowner as well. I've purchased property from the age of 23 through NHS Chicago right here in North Lawndale. And I'm also an investor. I own a multi-unit and also looking at additional opportunities, hopefully coming up soon as well. So I kind of have that experience with being a customer as well as, working in a program of homeownership as well.
That's beautiful, and I can only imagine how radiant you are talking about your experience and connecting the community to those resources as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I was here in North Lawndale, a long-time resident, started renting. My first apartment was here in North Lawndale, but then wanting to dive a little deeper into being more financially stable and owning a home for my new daughter at the time, I was led to NHS Chicago education program at the young age of 22. So I started my homeownership journey pretty young here in North Lawndale, right here in Ogden.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
How about you, Brandon? I'm sorry.
Hey everyone. I work in tech, but we're here today for the investing part. So partnering with my wife, we have a few properties, a couple of multi-units, two multi-units and then two single-family homes on the south and west side and one property on the north side. So trying to grow, trying to scale up is just a little mom and pop, type business, but we're trying to get to the big dogs. So happy to be here. Hopefully to share some knowledge and save some people some time. So.
Nice. We will start off with you, Brandon. Why is homeownership, property management, an important investment to you, your family, and/or your community?
To me, just at the highest level, it provides sustainability. Especially like now we're going in like an economic downtrend. Like a home property is a great inflation against. A great hedge against inflation, and then it also just provides, just like you said, she had a daughter at the time. It gives you a place to stay, because if you're renting, the landlord could raise the rent any time. If they need to pay their bills or if they just want more money. So then you have to kind of move around. It's just better to kind of have that. And then just from the financial aspect, you can leverage it. Even though it's a home, whether it's a home or whether it's single family or a multi-unit, you can leverage it for other things. So that's like the biggest thing I think that people don't understand, is that a property is just a physical savings account. That's all it is. Whether you're paying your mortgage or you have tenants that are paying your mortgage, the money is in the walls. So you can do stuff with that. You can, it's a generational wealth transfer. She can transfer that to her daughter, her grandkids. That's what I preach. With my family, we try to tell everybody to get in on this real estate, no matter if the rates are up or down. At the end of the day, just get in. So.
Thank you, and that's an interesting note as well. The city is also incentivizing entrepreneurs who are based in their home to get licenses, and they can operate and sell items that came from their home. So
That's right.
there's a way to leverage money through a business as well, as we will talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
How about you, Ms. Danielle?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Absolutely.
I was so intelligent with Brandon.
Why is homeownership / property management an important investment to you, your family, and/or your community?
So homeownership is an important investment for me personally because, as Brenda mentioned, it creates wealth. It's a wealth building tool for me and my daughter. I just recently transferred my property in trust because I want to make sure that when I'm no longer here, I can transfer my asset over to her. So it also is important for me because it builds a community. Again, I was raised in North Lawndale, moved to Austin, and it just, creates a sense of community. Being a renter is great, and that's a great starting point, but owning your first home, no matter if it's, a single family or multi-unit, it just gives you a sense of community. You want to be more involved, you want to be more present, and that was my primary reason besides wealth building. I wanted to be a part of the community a little more. And then also just being able to educate others, family and friends, even people in the community, the importance behind building that wealth gap and making sure we're part of the movement, especially here in Chicago on the south and west sides.
Yeah.
We definitely need more homeownership amongst the Black and brown families.
For sure. Oh, I actually do want to piggyback off that community part. I know, like me and my wife, we actually do take pride in. I have realized it's like we're providing like low income housing. I want to say like just housing in general to Black and brown families on the west and south side. Like I take a lot of pride in that because I meet with these people, I interview these renters, these families. Like I've rented out a lot of stuff to single moms, Section 8 people. So I just take pride in that. Just it's good, it's rewarding, and these people, they're looking at me, they're smiling, like, man, thank you for this opportunity. We try not to raise the rents too much. We really don't raise the rents at all, really, year to year. I think we've been in it since about 2016, and my wife is actually going down in the rent. I'm trying to tell her, like, hey, we got to keep something, but she wants to help. And
Yeah.
if they're a good renter, why not reward them so they can stay? And so I think that is just good, like I said, just community in general. Because I can help them. I can help a mom while she's in her transition, trying to, get a better job. And she might stay with us for 3 years. If they want to leave and go get a house, I actually I talk to them like I do now, like financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
So, because a lot of when we do interviews with prospective tenants, they see how, especially when I first started, I was like 27. They're like, oh, and they're like 50 years old. They're like, you're the owner? I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, this is us. And, we basically, you're going to be a part of our family. That's what it is. That's what I like to see it as. So, yeah, so community is definitely a good thing.
Nice. I will continue with you, Brandon.
Okay.
Describe your journey into homeownership. How did you prepare for this investment?
Well, I would say the first thing is definitely just at the highest level is just exposure. So that's number one. So I do so we have my uncle, he has a property. We have a few people in my family that does have property. So that's number one. And number two would be just researching and then just talking with your friends. So like before me and my wife actually started dating, we talked about it just as friends and a few of our other friends. Just like, hey, basically like, when we get some money, what we gonna do? Let's that's all we did. We talked about, that's literally all we talked about is, oh, we're gonna get this building. I want to get this. Have you guys heard this? And that's pretty much it. It's like what they say, your network determines your net worth. Like that's literally what I do all day, every day. Even with Charles, with your brother. Like that's just what I said. This is what I do. I got my mom she bought a building. She was adamant about not doing it. She wanted to rent, pay her for her co-op, and I'm like, Mom, this is what you need to do. So I'm just bringing people into the fold. Researching, getting exposure early, and then trial and error. Once you do it, you study for the test. Now it's time to take the test. Saving, budgeting. I know that's what they talked about previously. The other guy. That's going to be the big thing. That's how you save that $10,000 or $17,000. So that would be my answer. Yeah, just learn, educate yourself. That's pretty much the key. Because even when you get because we got a few properties, I'm still learning every day. I don't know everything. I'm not trying. I am no guru by the stretch of imagination. But it's just really you're just working. You put in the work, and it's going to pretty much pay off. Especially when you pay the house off.
Yes, and I'm hearing there's a common denominator with a desire to learn. As we've seen here, you wanted more for yourself, more for your daughter, and not only did you purchase a home, but you started to invest within an institution that's invested in you, and you wanted to learn more and share that information with more community members. So I'm noticing there is a common denominator, and that's a desire to learn. So
Absolutely.
do not be
Education is key.
afraid to ask for help. And if you have no idea where to start, there's individuals that we want to connect you to that
Yeah.
can fill in those blanks for you.
For sure. Yeah.
Danielle, I would love to understand your homeownership journey and how did you prepare for this investment?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, Mercedes, education is key, not just around our day-to-day education, high school, graduate school, but educating ourselves on financial literacy. That's where it started for me. I didn't come from a family that talked about the importance of credit, talked about the importance of budgeting and savings. So as coming out of high school, I knew that I couldn't go to college right off the bat. It was other responsibilities. So I decided to teach myself more about credit. So that's how I found Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago, because they offer financial literacy classes at the time. And I said, well, if I can go into a classroom style program where I'm sitting there and I'm learning about credit, I'm learning about budgeting, I'm learning about savings, that will be very impactful for me at a young age. So I started with educating myself. That was number one. Understanding the power of credit, that was really, really important. I learned that from a counselor. So I was able to leverage the tools I received as far as education with how to save my money, how to budget my money, and also how to maintain a healthy credit score. I started from there, and at that point, I moved into my first property. But the housing market changed. A lot of us within the communities that we sit in now, we lost properties. So I had to revisit the conversation on, do I want to be a homeowner again? And I decided not to let the foreclosure crisis deter me. Getting more education, I went through a program very, very similar to NHS Chicago, where I was able to connect with a learning resource like a housing counselor to teach me again the importance of budgeting, savings, and being prepared for those unfortunate pitfalls when those housing expenses come in, because again, sometimes we're cost burden and we can't pay the mortgage or you can't pay your rent. The importance of having that emergency savings. So I was able to learn that from a housing counselor. That housing counselor also took me through the path of learning to save my money, because there's always a gap between, how much you can afford and how much you have to put down, things like that with homeownership. Completing a program similar to neighborhood housing, I was able to save over $20,000 just from my 9 to 5. That housing counselor was very, very critical in teaching me even more important savings tools. So that was my journey, and I was able to pivot back into homeownership and investing, and I believe that was literally my saving grace. So that was pretty much my journey into getting into homeownership, working one-on-one with the housing counseling agency, meeting a loan officer, and learning how to save for that down payment. And then I was able to buy a multi-unit as my first investment property.
Thank you so much. A little bit more about the resources that is connected through NHS. Can you describe the available resources NHS connect an individual that's interested in homeownership?
Absolutely. As I just spoke to, first, financial literacy. Before pivoting into homeownership, it's really important that a potential home buyer has a relationship with their finances, knowing how much money that you earn, but how much you can spend on your housing costs. So we offer financial literacy workshops so that you can get more intimate in your finances, learning about budgeting, savings, and credit. Those are tools that you need before looking into the path of homeownership. We also offer an 8-hour homebuyer education course that takes you through the full cycle of homeownership, which is very critical. The 8-hour course prepares you for that full process, working with the loan officer, working with the real estate agent, as well as an inspector and an attorney. So we take you through the full cycle of homeownership in an 8-hour course. In addition to education, we also do one-on-one housing counseling, where you can work one-on-one in an intimate setting with the housing counselor to help you prepare that plan. Sometimes, we have those credit challenges that we didn't expect to deal with at some point. And going into home ownership, you're forced to deal with credit challenges. So you can work one-on-one with the housing counselor in that aspect. And then also what's really, really important that I think we often forget about is the sustainability piece that this gentleman spoke to. You know, you can buy a home, but is it sustainable? Can you maintain the home? And will you be, you know, a value to the community? So we also have a post-purchase or a home owner education program, as well as counseling tool to help new homeowners understand what is property taxes and how that impacts my mortgage payment. We also sit down and work with an existing homeowner on home repairs, trying to connect them through city grants that can help with repairs of the home. Deferred maintenance is a big issue in our communities, and it's often disregarded, but an expensive home can lead to foreclosure. So we also want to teach and educate a new homeowner about being sustainable and staying in a home. So we kind of do the full cycle of home ownership.
Absolutely. And before I go in more detail about grants, I definitely want to highlight anytime I want to know available grants or programs the city of Chicago have, I go on the NHS website.
Yeah.
So I heard about the additional dwelling units because of the NHS website, allowing residents to transform parts of their home, whether it's the attic, the garage turning into a coach house, or the basement allowing it to be furnished, and it incentivizes more residents to come into these spaces. And
Absolutely.
I connected that to our community members in my neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, Mercedes. Some of the City of Chicago programs we administer, like you said, the ADU, additional dwelling unit. That program is to help create more affordable housing. So, you know, we may purchase a multi-unit and a basement is not legal. So that particular program is to help homeowners in specific targeted communities turn that unit that's illegal or not in use to affordable housing. So the City of Chicago has launched a program to assist with that, up to $75,000 to help you transition that unit where it's not on the market into an affordable rental unit. So that's creating more wealth and more affordable housing. So that program is recently launched, and it's really successful, getting a lot of volume to that particular program. So I encourage anyone that wants more information about grants, as Mercedes stated, go to our website, nhschicago.org, and click on our grants tab, and you can get more information about ADU as well as other programs through the City of Chicago.
Nice. And in regards to grants, how does NHS, the Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago, helps individuals get connected to these grant programs?
We help individuals get connected on many different ways. As I indicated, we kind of do the full cycle of homeownership. So if you are a new home buyer, interested in buying a home, and you need that down payment assistance, we have a lending product that will assist you with getting down payment assistance. When you reach out to NHS Neighborhood Lending Services, which is our lending division, we have access to down payment assistance in that regards. We also connect individuals to other down payment assistance programs. So if there's any down payment assistance programs in the market through the state, through the city, through the county, as well as our lending partners like Wintrust or other organizations that we work with, we will connect our potential home buyer to those down payment resources. We also had a really successful down payment program internally called Homeownership for the Holidays, where we supplied qualified homeowners with $3,000 in down payment assistance. No liens, no repayment. It was straight $3,000 in down payment assistance to help fill that gap. So we try to be creative and offer down payment assistance programs throughout our organization, but that's for a new home buyer. Being, you know, an existing homeowner like Brenda and I, there's programs through the City of Chicago like ADU or some additional repair programs. We market to communities that are eligible, like there's different TIF communities that will be eligible for grants if you're an existing homeowner. You can go to our website, sign up for our newsletters, and just kind of read more about available programs for new home buyers and existing homeowners, because we are always trying to connect that down and build that bridge.
Thank you so much. Brandon, what type of property do you manage, and how did you prepare for this type of investment?
Well, we have 2 single family houses and then 2 multi-units So we have a 3-unit, and then we have it was a legal 4-unit, and I have like a 5 in the basement. But actually, we're actually in the middle of trying to do ADU. So I actually am
awesome.
because it's a studio on one side that was already complete, but then I have like a storage unit on the other, which this would make it 6 units. So definitely need your card for the ADU, because she was just researching it, my wife here outside the camera, but we didn't know anything about the grant. I didn't know anything about NHS. I'm so like just baffled. I didn't know you guys existed. Yeah, I'm like, I cannot believe I didn't know after all the programs and stuff. And your question was, how did I prepare?
Yes.
Well, I prepared for my wife. She was the one, she got her building first. So we did the house hacking. So she got her building in 2016, and we stayed in her basement. So I basically was like her intern. She was the landlord. I was her intern. I was just kind of picking up stuff. And luckily, like, we kind of synergized. And so then in that year, we learned a lot, being first time landlords. So then I bought my building the next summer. So we went from the 3 units, then we got the 5 unit, and then that was a whole bunch of stuff, man. So yeah, I got it. So on the west side, actually both properties are on the west side. So that was the whole thing, just dealing with people, because that's the other part they don't really teach you, right? They teach you about the money. You know, you're gonna make all this money, tax incentives. Okay, but now you have to meet face to face with families. You have to interact with Section 8. That's a whole other thing. Like, I had to get my first Section 8 tenant. And people talk down on Section 8 is great. I love Section 8. The only thing is the process of, like, when you're trying to get onboarded, they kind of have to come through with, like, the fear of God to me. You know, they're like, you got to build this. I had a gangway stuff we had to kind of take care of. But once you're in the system with Section 8, it's phenomenal. Like, they support you. They want to give this money. It's just an ecosystem. They want to help you help other residents. Help people in your community. So that's why I said I love Section 8. People come when we have open houses. They come with their moving papers. I try to help them out as much as I can. So how we did it was basically just talking to my partner, talking to people. I mean, talking to my friends. Anywhere I can get information. That's why I'm here today. And look, I got something brand new. I just, so that's what it's all about. It just compounds. That's all it does. You're just laying that foundation that each year you're getting better as a landlord, even though you're not even trying to. It's just kind of happening through osmosis. So.
Thank you so much, and I love making connections. That's one reason why we're bringing NHS and homeowner into this space, so the community can make connections. And I love how the panel guests are able to learn from each other and build off of each other. So that's the goal. As we wrap up, I do have one question for you, and then we have a question to wrap up the entire panel discussion. What does the homeownership course entails through Neighborhood Housing Services for anyone who's interested in going through such a process?
Absolutely, that's a great question as well. Mercedes, the 8-hour homebuyer education course provides information on the home ownership process. So it's an 8-hour workshop which anyone can register. It's free of charge online at nhschicago.org under our workshops tab. So it's a 4-part session. Part 1 is just general orientation in regards to NHS Chicago, our services and programs that we offer. We lead into a section called budgeting and credit. In the section on budgeting and credit, we spend some time talking about, credit and preparing your credit for that pre-approval. Also, how to budget, how to create a household budget. Most people entering this space do not understand the importance of a household budget. If there's a deficit in your budget, it's not ready to buy, you're not ready for home ownership, and then trying to build a surplus in that budget so that you can afford the home. So those are the first 4 hours of the workshop. Leading into the last 4 hours of the workshop, we discussed shopping for a home, which is part of the workshop where participants will talk to a realtor and discuss the process of buying a home, putting an offer on a home, and what that process looks like. The last 2 hours of the workshop is pretty much getting a deal done. How you work with a loan officer, how you work with a real estate appraiser and an inspector, which is very important. And then we kind of close it out with an attorney as well. But we go over the full cycle of home ownership in an 8-hour course. After completing the course, at some point in the home buyer journey, we provide a certificate of completion, which can lead to grants. Some programs require that education in order to obtain a down payment assistance. Some lender partners require that certificate in order to qualify for a certain loan product. So we just prepare our homeowners for that full journey of buying a home. And it's free of charge, so anyone can take the course, and after the course, you can transition into a free one-on-one counseling appointment as well.
Thank you so much. And how can the community get in contact with you and or NHS?
Absolutely. So one, our website, great resource to start online, www.nhschicago.org. You can click around to our educational workshop page. You can go to our grants page. And even if you're looking to start the lending process and obtain a pre-approval, there is a special place on the website, Buy a Home is where you can go to start a pre-approval application. You can also call our office. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The phone number is 773-329-4111. Option 3 to speak with a live customer service representative, or you can kind of search by my name if you would like to find me in a directory. My extension is 42228 as well, and I can help kind of with registration or prepare the home buyer for our counseling process.
Nice. And Brandon, how can the community stay connected with you?
I don't know. I don't have too many. They can hit me up on LinkedIn. I don't have any like public things. But yeah, Brandon Briggins. I'm on LinkedIn. If they want my email, it's bbriggan@gmail.com. So yeah, I can give them some pointers if they need some. I'm here.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you all taking the time to connect your knowledge to the community of the West Side of Chicago, especially as we celebrate Juneteenth. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Just to know, for NHS, my mom home was saved back in 2011. She came across NHS a few times in the past, but she didn't think it was real. She thought it was a scam.
Yeah, a lot of people